Good morning, Stream City! It's 6 a.m. somewhere. I hope everybody is doing well this morning. You are here with Munchies and Manna in the morning with your co hosts. Myself, Eli, your sound wizard, your technician of absolute shenanigans. We've got Dan.
Thank you for crafting this sword for me.
He is your resident leftist scholar, your part time scroller of doom. And he's here to tell you why the system is broken,
I tried several different times.
but with
Nothing
citations.
seemed to work for me. But I didn't give up. Eventually I found the
And we
key.
got David, our
Eli.
conservative voice of reason slash chaos, who thinks federal policy should be decided with brisket and a whiteboard. How are you this morning, fellas?
Thanks. You can quit for free help. Text
Alive and kicking on a Monday. Can't complain. You guys?
Have to say I've got my brain working pretty early this morning, so I'm doing pretty all right. Reading up on some new changes in the world.
Let me get you guys turned up. And we are here. Daniel, you want to kick us
Dude,
off with a little bit of global gaslight?
I sure do, as soon as I can find it.
One of them
All right,
mornings?
good news. Your apartment leak is now a hydration station. In today's global gaslight, the national water crisis has been officially resolved, not by fixing pipes or finding more water, but by redefining what counts as water. Under the new Hydration Flexibility Act, anything that's mostly liquid and not immediately lethal now qualifies as drinkable. And that does include mineral sludge, condensation off city buses, and possibly Gatorade if you squint hard enough. Bottled water companies are already bottling runoff and labeling it organic earth tonic. And tap water? Well, just don't light a match near it. Finally,
What?
you can stop crying into the shower and start bottling it for resale. Any ideas on that, boys?
I'm gonna have to look that up real quick,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I'll give
I
you
would
time, and we'll come back before we go to the next segment.
I'm gonna throw out I'm gonna make myself look like an asshat real quick and have an
Go ahead.
assumption. My
Okay.
assumption, we're gonna see if I'm right on this, guys. My assumption is that this gives water recycling companies ways to reuse water before it goes through their wastewater collection and gets recirculated into the drinking water.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I would assume that it just gives them a wider variety of liquid to collect.
I mean, I always knew Four Loco would make a comeback as a public infrastructure.
My guy, it never stopped. Double fisted some of them the other day.
Yuck.
Oh, it was disgusting. I don't know who brought them, but I drank them.
I'm sorry.
I remember the first time and last time that I had a Four Loco, and I was told that if I shotgun it, it's a lot better than if I drank it.
No.
And I listened and I crushed that shit. Like probably one of the fastest shotguns I've ever done.
Yeah, I
I don't
bet.
remember the next 45 minutes after that, but I know it was a good time. Because
was it
the
at
part that
least
I
the
do
was it at
remember,
least the
well, the part I do remember is waking up shirtless in a shopping cart jousting with foam noodles. So it couldn't have been that bad. Just a little 45-minute blackout, you know?
Is your heart okay?
was it at least the watermelon?
It was whatever the gold one was. I know the can was gold, and it was before they changed the recipe, so it did have caffeine in it. So I was booted and zooted. I'll tell you what.
So drunk you didn't even know your heart was going crazy.
That's what I'm saying. And I woke up jousting shirtless in a shopping cart with a foam noodle. It was a good time. Would I do it again? No. Am I glad that I did it that night? Sure. No major consequences were had, except for a temporary ban from Walmart. All right,
So
our second head.
I
Oh,
looked
you
it
looked
up.
it up? Okay, what's
Yeah.
up? Were you right?
It so somewhat. It allows water collection for BLM land.
Oh, that's
Um
not bad. Love BLM land.
well you don't well you you want some fucktard in that runs a construction company running water lines through BLM land?
No,
Yeah.
but
See,
if you're gonna go out there, if you're gonna go out there and stick a barrel off in the woods like that, I don't mind.
they're not. They're collecting the water runoff and then transporting it, which I mean,
I
kind
mean,
of
honestly, on the West Coast, I don't see a major problem with that because most of that
Californians
is
excluded.
Of
see, most
course.
of that water though is still going to get in. Most of that water is still going to end up in California when there's a fire. Like as soon as there's another big fire in either Washington, Oregon, or California, like there is every 2 years. I lost a farm to one, like 2022. Um, yeah, I can almost as much BLM land as Washington and Oregon have. I can almost guarantee that that water will end up being used for fire.
More
It'll
than
go
yeah,
in big. It'll
yeah.
go in big reserve tanks in the ground and or a man-made well, and then they'll pull from it as they need it. But that's just speculation. I mean, honestly, I don't actually know the plans for the recycled water or the runoff, but
No. The
I
that
mean,
the, I would assume so it I mean it does talk about some of the contaminants. I would have to go and read old list versus new list,
right.
but more
Well, I
than
mean, as
like
long
it
as
look
it's not immediately lethal, it's water now. So
well, it's considered drinkable.
yeah, that's
Drinkable doesn't necessarily mean good.
Yeah,
it
look
just
at
I
means you
can
may
Wichita's
or may
water.
not die.
I can go drink water out of a lake or out of my pool. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to have the shits for the next 2 weeks.
That's fair. I oddly enough can drink well water like super easily. Like it doesn't hurt me. Like with or without the water softener. Does it taste bad? Yeah, absolutely. It tastes like shit. But can I drink it and nothing happen? Yeah. And I don't know if that's just exposure from different parts of the world or
That's
what. Like I've drank some
100%.
Yeah.
pretty bad water in my life, so
Yeah. No, this, like I said, they're not, I mean, man, they're not dumping chemicals on BLM land. So I would
that we
assume that
know
the
of.
runoff,
That we just wait
right,
for that scandal.
right.
Wait
Yeah,
for that headline to pop up in 2 weeks.
I would assume that the runoff water just has certain chemicals in it that we aren't necessarily used to.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
a certain amount of like pesticides and shit like that, I'm sure.
well, I wouldn't, I mean, what is, yeah, I mean, whatever it is. I would just assume that it's stuff that we currently don't test for because
Right.
it's not going through wastewater recycling basically.
Yeah.
So and we know like they don't test for like estrogen in that water in the first place. So like there's already shit that we don't test for in drinking
Yeah.
water.
In our tap
I'm
water.
yeah, in our tap water. And I'm assuming that those chemicals just aren't or those whatever they are just aren't something we test for.
That's fair. Well,
They're just giving out a warning.
I appreciate you looking up some more facts on that so that we could be more educated about it. Our next headline, Turkey arrests cartoonist over political satire. Our show would be fucked. In the past 48 hours, Turkish authorities have arrested prominent cartoonists and satirists for drawing critical cartoons of the government, accusing them of assaulting the state. Journalists report that at least 5 artists were detained during early morning raids, their studios seized, and digital archives confiscated. Prime Minister, I wanted to say Aragon so bad, but it's uh Erdogan.
That's
I
your
hope.
dragon boy.
Administ- right. Administration claims that the move is part of a digital cleanup to protect national unity. Critics both in Turkey and abroad warn that it's a blatant attack on free expression, pointing to the rising pattern of media suppression since 2023. Stay tuned. Legal challenges are already being prepared, and solidarity protests are forming in Ankara and Istanbul. So,
Pretty
yeah, I
sure we
mean,
tried to do the same shit here, and it didn't last very long. You
are you talking
can't.
about during the? Are you talking about during the big scare during the Cold War?
Yeah.
Is that what you're referencing when we were trying to take out political cartoonists and like comedians and shit?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, pretty much any war. But the
Or we just
cold.
called him a communist and told him to leave.
Yeah. Well, we called him a communist and threw him in prison.
Yeah.
You can't draw cartoons. And they got in
Cartoons
trouble
now
for
a
that shit.
crime. Guess if your pen's mightier than their patience, they'll shut it down.
What about my First Amendment?
See, that's I mean, that's why
Um,
you gotta know
cart,
your
cart,
rights. You gotta know your rights.
cartoons. Cartoons aren't words, don't you know? I'm assuming that would
Oh.
be this. I'm
Ah,
assuming that would be
yeah.
the spin that they
That,
threw.
yeah. That probably was.
Cartoons aren't
I think it
words.
was you drew a turkey wrong. Now you're literally drawing attention from the state.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh shit.
I
All
mean,
right.
they're called turkey.
Yeah, but oddly enough, they're not shaped like it, nor do they have a lot of them there.
Maybe
At
they
least not in
taste like
Istanbul.
it.
I didn't see any turkeys within like a 50-kilometer radius around Istanbul. I've been up and down and all around there.
I remember hearing at one point that turkeys were not native to that part of the world. Like in
Yeah.
like that entire landmass over there.
Yeah, I feel like it's
They took
definitely
them.
more of a North American thing.
I think they are, but I'm not 100% sure. Or they ate them all. I would. I love turkey.
Our next headline, if you're not caught up on the updates of the Suzanne Morphew case, in brief disappearance, Suzanne vanished on Mother's Day of 2020 in Colorado. Her husband, Barry, claimed she went for a bike ride and never returned. Initial arrest 2021. Barry was charged with murder despite no body. Prosecutors alleged he killed her to avoid divorce and cover up her affair. The case was dropped in 2022 due to lack of evidence. Barry body found in 2023. Suzanne's remains were discovered in a shallow grave 50 miles from home during an unrelated search. New evidence has arrived. Forensic tests found animal tranquilizers, or BAM, in her bones. Barry had access to the drug, and tranquilizer darts were found in his home. Rearrest 2025. So just recently. Barry was arrested again this week after new evidence linked him to the crime. He's being held on a $3 million bond.
Oof. I,
What?
I, yeah, that's. I don't even have a joke.
So yeah, if you don't remember that happening back in 2020, it was a pretty sad case. There's a bunch of public publicity around it, especially once the body was found. It really sparked another like curve. Um, and then if you're curious as to how he's being brought up on charges twice for the same thing, it's because they dropped the initial charges, which would bypass the uh, which would eliminate double jeopardy.
This had to be
So,
covered up by the Tiger King because I don't remember hearing about that.
oh, the Tiger King was getting more attention at that time than this
Oh
missing
yeah.
gal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Said especially if you were in the Midwest or the Southwest or anywhere around the middle of the country with nothing else to do during COVID shutdown. I do quite remember the Tiger King. I do. Oh yeah, that's right. He did run for governor.
Man.
Yep.
He ran for governor of Oklahoma. I fucking forgot about that. What's crazy was the amount of votes he actually got. Like I don't remember a specific number, but I know it was more than fucking zero.
See, that's why no one remembers this case.
That's why no one remembers this poor woman.
Sad.
Oh man.
I-
So apparently the key to solving this cold case wasn't DNA and it wasn't a confession, it was elk tranquilizer. Somewhere a
So,
moose is missing its meds and a prosecutor just got their groove back.
but what
Fuck.
was the unrelated search?
You know, I don't know what the unrelated search was. That was not made clear in the article that I pulled. So, um,
50
I mean, I can
miles
def
from her home in
yeah,
an
50 miles.
I wonder if they were just putting a new building up and they were just like, "Oh shit, body."
Don't murderers just hate when that happens? Don't you just hate new construction when they go take out a nice plot of, that'll make a murder an ecologist, an ecolog, whatever. You know
An
what the word I'm trying to
ecologist?
say is. Somebody that cares about the goddamn environment.
Hey, isn't somebody buried under like home base and at a baseball field, like some mobster dude or some shit?
uh, yeah, that
I'm
real cool
high.
one. So am
Yeah,
I.
I'm so high this morning, and yeah, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
the
I
thing, right?
crushed 3 bowls back to back before the show. I'm pretty zooted right now. having a having a great time. Um, Now here's an update. Barry did say that he was working that day, but security footage shows him doing a tour of Colorado's finest dumpsters. If your alibi is I was busy throwing away evidence, maybe don't hit every single trash can on the map like it's a scavenger.
I'm not gonna hit the sad horn again. I'm not gonna do it. That was preemptive. I'm sorry, chat. Oh.
any any
Jimmy
final
Hoffa, that's who it was.
Jimmy Hoffa. Oh, that's the mobster buried under Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that one. You know, at least they say he is. But
I
they
just
built
say,
the
I wonder how he
stadium,
got
didn't
that pulled
find him.
off. Right? Hasn't Yankee Stadium been like remodeled like three
I
or
was
four
gonna
fucking
say,
times since
yeah,
his
it's
death?
been
Like,
remodeled within the last decade.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah, like
they
it's like
say.
a recent update to that facility.
Well, I mean that entire supposedly it was built on top of him, but they can't find the guy.
Well,
It must have been a deep grave. They probably buried him standing up.
Oof.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Small target. Put a tree.
Put a tree.
What a tree. All right, any
It's
last thoughts on global gaslight? Any of the headlines this morning? Any other weird facts that you found out?
I got nothing this week. You pretty much hit the nail on the head, bud.
Coolio. Well, hope you guys enjoy Global Gaslight because we're diving straight on into more headlines with Florida or fiction. This is a chat and listener and studio interactive game that we like to play here where I read off several different headlines and you try to guess whether it's Florida or if it's fiction. Am I making it up or is it a real Florida headline? So, um, listeners, if you got your keyboards out in front of you, if you're on mobile, it doesn't matter. Hop into the chat and let us know your answers for Florida or fiction. All right, our first headline: Florida man tries to trade live alligator for a 12-pack of beer. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
That's Florida.
Agreed.
We have two Floridas. Little backstory. In 2013, Fernando Caignet walked into a Miami convenience store carrying a 4-foot live alligator and offered it in exchange for a 12-pack of beer. The clerk, understandably alarmed, called authorities. Fernando had trapped the gator in a nearby park. He was cited for illegal possession and attempted sale of a protected species. The gator was safely released back into the wild. This is, in fact, a real Florida headline.
I, it's just crazy how we can hear a certain thing and just know. The 12 pack is what gave it away.
A man was arrested for trying to summon Bigfoot with fireworks and beef jerky. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
Happy 4th of July, Sasquatch. We love you. This is fiction.
You think it's fiction?
Yes, sir.
Not Florida?
That's Los Santos, dog. That's...
Man, look. If I'm drunk on 4th of July and I see someone that might be a little hairy, I might do some stupid shit.
This is a tribute to you. You're simply the best.
You know, like, hey, that's that's almost 7-foot tall hairy dude across the street. If I'm a little drunk, I could see me being like, Bigfoot, and then shooting up some fireworks and dancing, and eventually shooting them at what my drunk self believes is Sasquatch, to make him run towards me. And then the police show up and
we all go to jail.
Hey, we all go to jail. Like, anybody with me on that one, or am I just some drunk party person?
A drunk party person.
You might want to look into living in Florida.
Fuck, let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's Florida. I don't think so, but I could see it. I could see it happening.
This one is not a real headline.
Damn, I wanted it to be real.
You wanted it to be real so bad.
The inspiration comes from Oregon, but no such arrest has been reported. While Oregon is a Bigfoot hotspot with over 250 reported sightings, no one's been booked for trying to lure the creature with a snack and sparkler combo. Still, it's a very Pacific Northwest kind of case.
Well, we tried back in the day to lure him out with beef jerky, so you got to try something else now.
Rockets. They're using rockets now.
Rockets.
Have y'all ever watched that?
Right.
Oh God, what is it? Skinwalker Ranch. Every time they start a new investigation, they just launch rockets.
A man turns his uncle's skeleton into a functioning guitar. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
Jesus Christ. It's Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm gonna have to go with fiction, man. Did I lose you?
I'm gonna say true on that one, but as a tribute, I just don't know how you would make a skeleton into a guitar.
This one is actually a real headline.
Damn!
Fucking knew it.
Tampa
Dude, people
metal
do weird
musician.
shit with the dead. Sorry.
Tampa metal musician Prince Midnight built a working electric guitar, the Skelecaster, using the actual bones of his deceased uncle Philip. After Philip's remains were returned to Greece, Midnight decided to honor his uncle's love of metal by turning his skeleton into an instrument. He welded a guitar neck to the spine and strung it through the rib cage. His mom initially called it the work of the devil, but later admitted Philip would have wanted to shred it.
Bro, that looks badass.
Did you look it up?
I sure did. I would not want to play that though. But
No?
yeah,
Ah, no, I don't think I can, in good
she's
taste, put that on stream. Or I would.
I you I yeah, I don't think I would. I mean, if you didn't know it was real, you would just think it was really cool, like metalhead that wanted to have a,
Yeah.
you know, rib cage as a guitar. But now that you know that it's weird, it's kind of morbid.
A little bit.
You put your hand in the rib cage, and that's how you play it?
He is invested. He is invested, bro.
I'm just letting him go off for a little bit.
Holy shit.
Bro. Yeah, you put your hand up in the rib cage and then it like you strum it from there. Your other hand is up where the neck and head would be, but the hand that you strum is in the rib cage.
Absolutely wild.
Like I said, people do some morbid shit.
Right.
I just want to get turned into a tree so I
That's
can
it.
become
Just
a haunted forest. Dude wanted to become a guitar. Fuck it.
big fuck it. All right, our next headline. Man finds large iguana in his toilet again. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
That's Florida. The
We got one Florida.
Go
again
Florida.
part. Yeah, the again part kind of.
Any thoughts before I reveal the answer?
Nah, I used to have a pet iguana. They do some weird shit
Yeah,
sometimes.
100%.
They do some weird shit sometimes.
They do.
They really do. I kind of want another pet iguana.
Captive
But I want a
alligators,
big one.
too. Like pet alligators, bro. Oh my god. They're weird, too.
I want a lizard big enough that my dogs won't fuck it up. And it won't fuck up my dogs. But I got to train it for that, you know.
I would say
Alligator?
get you a Komodo dragon, but Komodo dragon.
This is a real Florida headline. In
Yeah.
Hollywood, Florida resident Gary Greenspan discovered a massive hissing iguana chilling in his toilet. Not for the first time. Iguanas are an invasive species in Florida, often entering homes through roof vents and plumbing. Greenspan joked the iguana might have been looking for a spa day. Animal control was called and the iguana was removed, but not before traumatizing another Floridian's morning routine.
Yeah.
I love it.
Imagine having the iguana head poking in while you got the turtle head poking out.
That's a thing I don't ever want to happen.
I don't ever want to hear you say something like that again. Jesus Christ. That was Dan's thoughts immediately. It was like, dude.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on me. And our last headline for today, for Florida or fiction. Woman sues Olive Garden after slipping on unlimited breadsticks. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
That's fiction, man. That's just the Too much audacity in that.
I would have just laughed at her.
That is not what we're here to do. We are here
Yes,
to
it
guess
is.
whether it happened in Florida or not, and then laugh.
Nah, I'm gonna go with Eli. The audacity on that. I would literally just fucking laugh.
Yeah.
If I was the server, if I was the owner, if I was either one of the lawyers, if I was the judge, I'd be like, bitch, you fucking slipped on a breadstick?
Unlimited breadsticks.
It means she never stopped slipping. That's what that implies. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with fiction. Like every time she stood up, she just slipped on another breadstick.
This was the trick question of today.
Ugh.
This is actually out of Nebraska.
Of course it is.
And now it is a little bit different. She didn't slip on the breadsticks. The real viral Olive Garden incident involved a Nebraskan woman finding letters printed on her breadstick, likely transferred from packaging ink. But she posted it on TikTok, and Olive Garden responded by sending her $100 gift card. No lawsuit, no breadstick slip and fall drama. So that was our trick question of the day. Our little trick headline. I like to throw those in there, mix you guys up. Um, but yeah, that is a almost real headline, um, with a very much real story that inspired it. So
I wouldn't complain about
a
a
$100
$100
gift
gift
card to
card.
Olive Garden. I mean, that'll cover at least
2
two
meals.
dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some wine or something. I think you can get a pretty
Bro,
decent. Pretty sure you can get a
I
pretty decent meal at Olive Garden for 25-30 bucks. But I haven't been to Olive Garden since
I
like
would
2016, so those prices have probably inflated by now.
I bet you I can get a meal for like $15 with unlimited breadsticks.
All he would eat is the breadsticks.
And
Right? Yeah, it just
take,
fills up on breadsticks and
Uh,
free salad, and he's like,
just
"Can I get a
leave.
box for my meal? Can I get a
Yeah.
box? I'm gonna take the
yeah.
box."
Can
They
I
get it
just
to
take my box
go.
to go?
Yeah.
It's the same thing I do at Mexican restaurants when they put cheese and salsa out for free. You're like, "Oh shit, I'm getting fucked up today."
Right.
Taking all of it home.
Right. And then I
And
order
then
like a fucking like monster burrito or some shit like that. Take 2 bites and I'm like, "Yeah, can I get a box?" And what's great is now I haven't done this in a while, so if you work at a Mexican restaurant, leave me alone. I used to just like ask for refills of the salsa, cheese, and chips,
and then
and
put them
then
in a box.
I would just take the salsa and the cheese in the container. Like I've got like 5 of these containers, maybe 6, in my kitchen cabinet right now.
You
And you
would
know what I
take the
use them?
container?
Yeah, yeah, I would take the container. Because what the fuck? They hand me a paper
Bro.
box. I'm not about to
That's
pour
some
fucking liquid in there.
man, that's it's one thing to be like, "Hey, I'm getting a bunch of the cheese and salsa to take home
But to
for
take
free."
the bowl.
But you take in the bowl?
Like I,
Judgment. You're getting
like I
all
said,
the judgment right
Yeah,
now.
like
man.
I said, I haven't done this in a very long time, but I still
I
have
don't.
those containers, and I still use them for salsa and cheese.
You know what? If any of those businesses have gone out of business, I
It's my
hope you
fault.
lose sleep over it because it's your fault.
Right.
You
You took
stole
the bowls.
the
For
three
their three
dollar
dollar salsa
bowl.
container. For their three
Yep.
dollar salsa container.
Yep. But I hope if they've gone out of business, you lose sleep over that.
Look, I didn't. Well, okay, I can't say I didn't mean to, and I can't say that I regret my decision.
You're like the person
But
that goes to a steak place and take
Takes the
homes the
knives.
steak knives.
Yeah.
okay, so I didn't do that. But you know how Applebee's or Chili's, either one, when they bring out the fajita plate and
You
it's got that little oven mitt on the handle. Not the
No.
handle. I had like 6 of those, bro. At one point in time, I would put them over the gear shifts in my car,
Oh my god.
and that was when I was in high school, and I had probably 6 different cars in high school. So yeah, every time I
Let
got a
me
new car, I would go steal another one.
let me guess. You take towels out of hotels too.
No, hell no. They don't even wash those. I don't even use the towels in hotels. I take my own towel and I use my own towel because it has been reported so many times that hotels notoriously do not wash towels or your very bottom fitted sheet. They only do towels and fitted sheets like twice a week. And if you're there in the middle of the week, that sucks. Because they do that shit on like Thursday and Monday. So if you show up on a Wednesday, you you, you might want to just sleep on the very top blanket and definitely use your own towels. And if they don't have cups in the plastic, like if your little cups that they offer in the room don't come in like a little plastic bag, a sealed plastic bag, don't use the cups because I guarantee you they've just been rinsed out with water and wiped down with the same cloth that they just got done wiping down the bathroom. So
And that, kids, is why I use Airbnb.
now that is one thing I don't take stuff from small businesses or privately owned businesses, but chain restaurants, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna take that shit all.
Judgment.
My
You're the
mama,
reason why you're the reason why my food's outrageously expensive.
yep, it's me. Still in those 80 cent covers and the $3 salsa bowls. That's definitely my fault.
Oh yeah. It adds up.
Okay, now there is one large thing that I did take, but I didn't take it on purpose. Like this one I actually didn't mean to do.
Eli,
Um
how much are we gonna judge him?
It depends.
If we
I
we
have
judged him for the little shit.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
I have a $32 beer stein that that I accidentally left the bar with.
no.
I was stupidly fucking drunk. I mean, like off my ass. I was carried to my tour bus because we were on tour at the time. I was carried to my tour bus with this stein in hand, and I had been drinking nothing but Irish gingers out of it all night. And if you don't know what that is, first off, you fucking up. Secondly, it is Jameson, a lot of Jameson actually, and just like a splash of ginger ale, and then like half a shot of grenadine. It's fucking delicious. If you don't have ginger ale, you can use Sprite, but ginger ale hits a lot harder because of the ginger interacting with the flavors of the whiskey. But I digress. But yeah, I was super fucking carried out to the tour bus. This stein is in hand, full. I wake up the next day, that shit is on the floor, and we are 2 states away. So
Oh.
I have not gotten a chance to take that back. I have every intention of returning to. I had every intention of returning to that place, but I do not remember where it was.
I have to say I appreciate the honesty, but that's all you're gonna get from me.
That's fair. That's fair. Shit happens. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't mean to brag, but they made a fuckload of money off us that night, so we had that bitch packed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with what Eli said.
You respect the
That's-
honesty, but that's about it.
yeah, that's about it.
I mean,
The
Fair
the
statements from
judgment
both people.
I
the
have.
Fine.
judgment is real.
I
I
have.
can I can honestly tell you that I am a much better individual now as an adult with a fully formulated brain than I was 8 years ago when all this shit happened, or eight or plus years ago, because some of that stuff I did in high school, and I haven't been in high school in a long time. So like almost 15 years long. So
The only cup that I have that I'm not supposed to have is one of the uh it's A&W's root beer float cups, and I
oh
asked
yeah, I
if
love those
yeah,
cups.
I asked if I could take it, and the dude was just like, I don't give a fuck.
God, I love people like that at their job.
Yeah, I felt okay because the guy, like, I asked if I could have it, and the guy was like, I don't give a fuck.
Right, right,
It's-
right.
but, you know, judge me. I asked.
All right, friends, stick around. Eli's going to hit us with the Space Mountain Discord ad, and then we will be right back into it with Highly Debatable. Me and David are going to smoke a bowl and then have a conversation and try to keep it civil as possible. But we'll see in Highly Debatable right after this ad.
Boom, boom. Welcome to Space Mountain, your home for streamers, gamers, coders, artists, and 420 friendly creatives. Here, it's more than just a server, it's a community built on our motto: we grow together. Jump into custom voice chats, squad up with esports teams, share code, learn with custom AI bots designed in house, or drop memes in our epic one of a kind Discord server. And don't miss the vibes of Munchies and Manners morning radio show streaming straight from the heart of the mountain. No pressure, just presence. No limits, just vibes. Space Mountain, where everyone has a place, and every place is a vibe. Doon doon.
All right. Appreciate you playing that little bitty there, Eli. We're gonna jump right into highly sorry, still still smoking. We're gonna jump into highly debatable. David, did you smoke your smoke yet?
Oh, you know it.
All right, cool. The question of today: should IVF embryos be considered children under law? Why this is in the news. On July 1st, Alabama Supreme Court ruling that frozen embryos are legally considered children has reignited fierce debate across the U.S. The discussion has already caused IVF clinics in Alabama to pause services, fearing legal liability if embryos are damaged or discarded. Lawmakers and fertility experts warn this could have a nationwide implication for reproductive rights, medical ethics, and the access to fertility care. Now, why this is so controversial? Supporters, often pro life advocates, argue that some life begins at conception, even if it's in a lab dish, and embryos deserve full legal protection. Critics say this blurs the line between science and ideology, potentially criminalizing standard medical procedures and threatening reproductive autonomy. It also raises questions about who has custody of the embryos, what happens in divorce cases, and whether discarding embryos could be considered a wrongful death. So, let's get into it. David, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't see why it's even a debate. I think it's fucking stupid.
Super fair. Elaborate, please.
Uh, I mean, if you're paying for IVF, they tell you this. They tell you the statistics on on what the odds are for each egg.
Right.
So it's not like losing or discarding embryos is something that isn't like it is just part of the process. If you're going to IVF, you already have some sort of fertility issues in the first place,
Right.
or you wouldn't be doing IVF.
That's fair.
So yeah,
That's fair.
but I
Personally,
mean,
oh, go
I
ahead.
was gonna,
Sorry.
sorry. I could
No, you're
see
good.
how some extremists are gonna say that life, life starts at conception.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's wackos everywhere.
I mean, you're not wrong. Personally, and I know that this is a wild take that might not be appreciated by everybody, to which I can understand. A child, to me, is not a legal citizen protected under rights until they are actually born. Now, I don't agree with late stage abortions, but I do think that late stage reproductive care should be provided across the US. And that I feel like that part is acceptable. Now, here's the thing that most people find controversial when I say it. If you are currently pregnant and you are less than 6 months pregnant, what you have inside of you could legally and by definition be described as a parasite. It needs a host to live, it feeds off of you, and it doesn't and it also, uses the bathroom after a certain age and things are developed inside of you as well. So what could be described by definition, that would be a parasite. I mean, a tapeworm does the exact same thing. Um, Now, are tapeworms and babies the same thing? No, but I do personally believe that if a woman's having any medical complications or financial complications or just life complications and how the oh, what's it called, the I just said it here. Oh, conception. Yeah. So whether even if it was a conception issue, is what I mean by like life issues or things like that. Uh, Definitely fully believe in the whole my body, my choice thing. And if you don't want that baby, fuck that baby. Not a lot of people like that stance, but I'm not the one growing
I
a
gotta
parasite inside of me and then essentially shitting it out.
so I
So,
gotta I gotta I got a hypothetical for you.
okay.
A woman is walking into an abortion clinic, walking across the street,
Yeah.
not in a crosswalk, gets hit by a person,
Okay.
baby dies, person
Okay.
dies, or we'll just say baby dies.
Okay.
Legally, that person can get charged with homicide because the baby died. She's
Or
walking
manslaughter
into
if it's
an
deemed as an
for
accident
manslaughter.
because she wasn't in a crosswalk.
Right. If she's walking
Yeah.
into an abortion clinic, should the man get charged? Or should the person get charged?
Well, here's a little bit of a controversy that I find in your hypothetical. I will answer it. I will answer the hypothetical. I'd just like to throw out that a lot of these quote unquote abortion clinics are Planned Parenthood, and Planned Parenthood does a lot more. And I do mean like capital ALOT, a lot more than just abortions. In fact, abortions is one of its lowest procedures like lowest percentage of procedures done at Planned Parenthood compared to their other things that they offer. So if she was going to have an abortion and she had it scheduled on the books, she was showing up for her appointment type of thing, because they don't do walk-ins because there's too much legal tape there. So you have to set up an appointment, consultation, all that stuff. Don't ask me why I know this. Um, but yeah, if she's showing up for an appointment that's on book for an abortion, no, that driver should not be charged. Now, also the driver shouldn't be charged because she wasn't crossing the road in a legal standpoint. So I find no fault with the driver. Um, Especially if you're talking like a blind curve or the top of a hill or something like that, where you have an obstructed view of the road before you actually get there, and the speed limit is above 25. Because if the speed limit's above 25, you automatically need, well,
No.
according to DOT, you need 50 feet to stop above 25 miles an hour in any vehicle. So if it's heavier, you're going to need more, obviously. But yeah, I don't think that person should be charged if there's an appointment on book for that. I think that she could possibly try to sue for damages for like personal if she was like put in critical care, because that's generally what would happen to lose a baby, depending on how far along she is. But any like injuries or anything like that, I think she could potentially sue for in either small claims court or liability court. But I don't think that man should, or I don't think the driver should be brought up on legal charges for a person crossing the road illegally, for losing an infant or losing a fetus that she had planned to abort. Like already had the consultation, or it was showing up to her appointment type of stuff. Like that's going to show up
Okay.
in her testimony. So when they ask her, well, why were you there? She's, I
S-
mean,
Okay, so take the abortion clinic out of it and it's an accident.
I don't
Should the person still go to jail for an
know.
accident for because again it would be murder.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. Now if you murder with intent of a person who wants their fetus, yes, you should go to jail for that. But see, that's why you have to treat these things like a case by case basis, because everything's going to have
Well,
a different outlier to it. So
right. But that's
I think
the
in an accidental case, I don't find fault with
so
accidents because shit happens. So
so that's the and that I think that's the problem where a lot of people get where a lot of people disagree at. You can't you can't write a law that says a person is a person or a person is a human only if the person that is carrying that fetus deems that they currently at that time wanted to keep the fetus. Like there's no you can't there's no law that can do that. So you either have to define a fetus as a child or you define a fetus as a fetus and you don't give fetus rights. Like but it's you can't you can't have it based on feelings or on situations on case by case on what by definition is living or not living.
yes, from a
I
law
mean
writer
you're
standpoint, you're not wrong. From a law writer
right
standpoint, you're not wrong.
and that right
Um,
and but that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with what we on law on paper what we are putting down as what gets rights and what doesn't. And you can't play that based on feelings or on situations. The situation doesn't change the definition.
I think if to write it as a law, if I were going to write it as a law, I would think that any uh any case that was brought forth that was an accidental caused death from an accident, so not done on purpose with malicious intent, should not be considered for jail times. Reparations, maybe, like,
Well,
but
see, but
if
that's
you, but so well, hold on now. Whereas if you were to purposefully kill a fetus after X amount of time with malicious intent, then that would be classified as a crime.
well,
But
killing.
I don't think it would be a crime on the fetus. It would be a crime on the person carrying the fetus. Does that make sense?
So the
So you
person,
would get
so
charged
the
for assault or attempted murder of the carrier of that fetus, but not murder or manslaughter,
right, but that's
especially in cases deemed as accidental.
right, but that's why definitions and legal terms matter, because by what you just said, either the person performing the abortion and or the mother getting the abortion would fall by definition into, I mean, maliciously killing a fetus.
That's why I
because
said after. That's
because
why I said
well,
after X time. I
right,
think
but
there needs to. The heartbeat bill was terrible. I know Arkansas passed that late two or mid 2000s. I think it was maybe even late 90s. I know it was somewhere in there. The heartbeat bill, I don't like that because one, heartbeat comes up in your first trimester, and there could be serious medical complications that come in your second or even third trimester. Um, but this goes back to the point where I stand fully in not necessarily the hypothetical, but I do stand firmly as far as the right to terminate is my body, my choice. If something is wrong, nobody knows your body better than you. Like if you pull a fucking hammy, like David, if you pull a hammy, no one is gonna know how serious that injury is but you. You can go to a doctor and they can speculate, or they can run very expensive tests to find out how bad you pulled your hamstring.
right, right, but
But
you're going back to a case by case scenario, and you can't do, and again, I said that's where the disconnect is. We are actively trying to write legal laws with legal definitions, but you're
I don't think we
fighting for
should.
case by case.
I don't because
I know.
I don't think we should classify it legally because
Right.
you can't. It is 100% a case by case basis. It is not something that you can write into law because the people writing into laws are not the people carrying the fetuses.
I
It is
understand that.
so. I mean, that's
We're
you
so
can't.
you
I understand
you
that
and
we're
I
trying to, but I don't think that we should.
right, you and
I
I
don't
are
think
on
there
the
should be.
same
Yeah, yeah,
right. You personally, you and I are on the same spot, but the again, the problem is we are both sides are actively trying to define it legally.
And you can't,
right,
like,
And there's like at some because we're doing it legally, this is the argument that we have to have. Not or not
yeah,
arguing. This
I
is what
agree.
we have to talk about.
Yeah, this
I
is
don't agree
the
with it.
debate
I
that we
don't
have to
like
have.
it
Right,
because it should be case by case. And
right,
honestly, the government shouldn't have any fucking say whatsoever in anything that goes on in my health or anybody's health. Period.
right.
If
I
I want to
completely
hire a
agree.
doctor to do something, then I'm going to hire the fucking doctor.
Right.
That's whatever that doctor needs to do to make sure they're licensed to perform that job is on them.
On the up and up. As long as they're carrying the appropriate insurance and they're not committing malpractice, I don't see any problem with. Especially, okay, so here's the big controversy I find with the whole we're trying to define it legally is that we're trying to tell people who are not medical professionals are trying to tell medical professionals what is best for body autonomy and biology. Like they are trying to tell doctors that they know more than the doctors. Like the people writing these laws that are writing these bills are saying that they know more than all of these reproductive health doctors. And that is where I find controversy, not only in our bill writing process and our lawmaking process, but also just with the corporated capitalistic system that we have in place for privatized medicine. Because if I go offer a doctor $100,000 to say something for me, it doesn't have to be right. They just have to say it. It doesn't have to be backed in fact, but I think that like if we're gonna write medical bills, you should have a team of doctors working with a team of lawyers to write that bill. Now, I do understand that I just said I could go offer $100,000 to a doctor to say something, which is why you pull from a large source, talking thousands of doctors
Well,
who are who
unfortunately,
are who are eliciting opinions and offering valid points on not only our current healthcare system that they work in every single day, but also what is best for patient care. Because I'm honestly getting a little tired of opening up my news in the morning and reading that another woman has passed away due to complications with childcare, and doctors can't do anything because they're tied up with tape. So I'm kind of getting real tired of that. Like doctors know more than politicians and lawyers as when it comes to the health of a patient. Like I'm not gonna go to my local law firm when I have a cough. I'm gonna go see a doctor. I'm not going to go to my local politician or my local state senator for a surgery. I'm going to go see a doctor.
right.
So
The
that's
the
I,
problem, but the problem is our medical system is owned and ran by the pharmaceutical system, which is ran and owned by the government.
which doesn't make
So,
sense because how much money does the pharmaceutical company make off a Plan B a year? Because them little pills are fucking expensive.
well, right, but that who why why are you being given a
Who,
pill?
why, what, when, where?
But no, so you're given a pill that comes with its own side effects that you have to keep going back to the doctors for to and so we'll bring up my personal thing. I have ADHD, right? I hate ADHD medicine. I refuse to take it because it's basically fucking meth, but it
Yeah,
is
and
what it is.
it turns everything gray.
Right. But you give
Yeah.
me ADHD medicine and then you're like, "Oh, well, you don't have an appetite because you take ADHD medicine. So we're going to give you this to increase your appetite." Well, now you're taking these two medications, you have to take this one because of this. Also, we know that you've been on these medications for 2 or 3 years now, but we need you to come back to the doctor every 2 or 3 months to get a checkup to make sure that your blood levels are right, to make sure your medication's okay, or we're just going to cancel your prescriptions and force you to come back and pay a visit so we can restart all the stuff that we had you on.
Ooh,
So they
something I have
trap you
experience with.
going to the doctor, and then they force you to have insurance because, well, hey, now you're going to the doctor 6 or 7 times a year to get medication that just causes more side effects. You know what the actual solution for ADHD is?
Pot.
Go the fuck outside, burn off some energy, and don't sit in the same goddamn spot all day long. There's a very few chemicals in your body that increase your hyperactivity, and when you have ADHD, you just need to not consume those chemicals. But doctors won't tell you that. At
Something
least
that
not
Brought to you
doctors
by
today. Doctors today won't tell you that.
I
brought to
actually
you
have
by
experience with the
Vitamin C.
ADHD medicine and having to go to the doctor every 2 or 3 months to get a checkup. And David, while I kind of understand your point, like my because of taking the Ritalin and the Adderall, my insides are messed up probably for the rest of my life. Like I have had problems with my bowels and constipation literally my entire life, and I haven't been on these medications for multiple years. But
Oh yeah,
I can
especially
under I
Ritalin with its bone density loss and stomach lining problem,
I
like
can
stomach lining
understand
issues.
I can understand when you're on a medication and needing to go to the doctor every 2 or 3 months to have a physical or a checkup done. Because if I hadn't been doing that, I would have never have caught the problem, and it would have gotten significantly worse than what it was, than what it became. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm
Right. So
I'm
I
still I'm still paying the ramifications for it, but I would be on a colostomy bag if it weren't the case that I was going to the doctor regularly. You know what I mean? Like
the point I was specifically making can be cut down
applied to
to a few
anything.
things. Well, so we'll go with the ADHD because I happen to know a lot about it. If if the Board of Education wouldn't have shortened up recess and lengthened the school day and put you in a chair all day long and then said, "Hey, this guy won't sit still," you wouldn't have been put on ADHD medication in the first place. Being in school for 8 hours a day is not something that any child should be doing, period. Every country in the world tells us we're fucking stupid for doing it.
Gotta love the Rockefellers and their industry standard
Right.
because they're not educating, they're just training plant employees.
The, we are just training, but we didn't see an increase in ADHD until we started putting people in classrooms. We didn't see every other boy specifically getting diagnosed with ADHD until they started taking away recess. We
Or leaving your sports or recess to the end of the day.
right. It used to be that kids went outside or went to the gymnasium for 20 or 30 minutes before class, and then between, even in elementary school, hey, we're going from math to art, we're going to go outside for 10 minutes and run around.
Yep.
Right.
Like,
Take a jog.
even when we were little itty bitty kids, before we were put on ADHD meds, we went outside and we burned off that energy.
No, I do
Nobody.
remember going to an elementary or like a primary school where we had recess 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
used
It
to
was
be
just like
common.
At
10,
least
20 minutes at a
twice.
time. Well, because
And then
we would do it in the morning when you first got there. So you would get there 20 minutes early for school and you would be outside until the bell rang and then you'd go to your class. And then you would study 2 subjects and go back outside, then come back, study 1 subject, go to lunch, which was also an hour long, so it was half lunch, half recess, and then you'd come back, study 2 more subjects, then go back outside and play sports.
Yep.
right, and then but
And
and we can
it was
break.
only 6 hours. It was only 6 hours, but I realized that I y'all had different experiences because of geographical locations.
Well,
So
Right,
that's a big
and
that's a big difference though. You know.
it is, and we
yeah,
can, but we can break that down even more. Why? Oh well, they say kids get disruptive. Why do kids get disruptive? Because they're not entertained. They're not using whatever. They're not. Their attention is not being gathered, which means they don't care about the subject.
yeah,
We took kids away from doing art. We took kids away from doing
from
physical
playing
activity.
music.
We took kids away from playing music, anything creative, and we put them in a classroom that's boring. The only thing that makes that classroom not look like a prison are teachers spending their hard-earned money that they don't get paid enough of to decorate the classroom.
Right. I think my mom dropped like five. My mom's an elementary or middle. Well, this year she's a middle school science teacher, but I think she dropped like $500 on her classroom and supplies,
Yeah,
and
pretty
that was
much
Yeah.
every
just for the
year,
and that was
every
just and that was
semester.
just for the first semester. That was just for the first
Yeah.
semester. She'll do it again on the second.
But you go and look at China's school system. They get tons of exercise. Their classes aren't as long as ours. They go to school all year long, but they have
Yeah,
shorter
but the
days.
classes, most of those classes are actually outside. Having gone to a
Right.
secondary school in China, I can tell
Yeah.
you that a lot of those classes, like when we were learning biology in fifth or sixth grade, we were outside looking at different plants and bugs and living things, and we would take samples and take them back to the class and study them, and
Yeah.
then we would go back outside for I think arithmetic and composition, so writing and math. So writing and math were the only inside subjects that I had when I was going to that school in China.
Yeah.
Roger.
And then so we have all the, eh, we have all of this decrease spending in exercise every day. And then
Right.
we're also shoving junk food down our children's throats that contain dyes that, guess what, are known to increase ADHD attributes,
Hyperactivity.
hyperactivity. So what do? We give them medication. Like, dude, if our school
It's
system
the
changed, you
American
never
dream.
would have. Yeah, you never would have been put on that medication. You never would have had those issues. You never would have had lifetime. You
Life
would have never
altering
been, yeah, life altering issues that keep
problems.
you.
Yeah.
Well, there's other stuff that keeps us going to the doctors, but a lot of that shit would have just not happened.
Yeah.
I'm
But
still
guess
a
what?
super firm believer in like fruit. Like fruit
Oh yeah.
and like natural spices and herbs do
Oh,
so
you.
much more than like
Well,
I'm a big herbalist. I really am, and it's not just
That,
because I have a degree. It's
call me a.
just it's just because I mean Native American roots. I can solve most of your problems with basil, apple cider vinegar, and blueberries.
Call me
Like
a conspiracy theorist, but the witch hunt happened to happen right before what? Modern
pharmaceutical companies.
medicine.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yep. Yep. Right. But yeah, I'm a huge like I garlic for stomach aches or indigestion problems, basil for headaches and sinus problems, eucalyptus for the same thing, apple cider vinegar for any type of nausea, body pains, body aches, arthritis, blueberries, super antioxidants. Because I don't know if people know this or not, but oxygen is one of the most deadly things that we consume every day. It just takes a really long time to kill us. Uh, but oxygen is actually toxic to your body, even though you need it to live. Isn't that a fun world? Um, and I think that that's an interesting fact. We have gone way off of our highly debatable tangent here, or our initial prompt, but appreciate everyone's inputs to your embryo discussions and your ADHD discussions for early childhood development. And I'm sure our listeners do too. But we have to jump on over to the strain game. This is a short little segment that we do where we recommend different strains, give you a little bit of science behind it, and then we find out what game it pairs best with. So, uh, Eli is going to take us through our first one, and then you'll hear from David on the second one, and I will cover the third one. Eli, take us into the strain game.
our first strain of the day is Northern Lights with a THC content of 16 to 21%. Its terpene profile has myrcene, which is earthy and musky, and limonene, which is citrusy, pinene, which is piney. And why it pairs well. Northern Lights is the classic lights out indica that melts your stress away. Like a joystick left in the sun, its high myrcene content brings a smooth body relax, while the limonene adds a subtle mood lift so that you don't fall asleep mid-level. Perfect for winding down with a cozy story-rich game like Firewatch, where you can slowly explore and micromanage virtual lives without pressure, or speed runs to boss battles. It's like the gaming equivalent of a warm hug and a cup of tea, except you're also totally zoned in on your game's weird drama.
The next strain is Jack Hearer. I
Jack
don't know.
Herrera. Jack Herrera.
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 I have
Yeah.
not. I have not had that one personally, but it's
It's
THC
it's it's one
content.
of the better it's one of the better sativas I've had.
Yeah, see, I hate sativas.
Me too.
It's it's THC content. It's from 18 to 23%. Terpene profile is terpene, terp,
That's
terpenol.
right.
I fuck that up every time. It has a floral and herbal taste. a pinene, a piney taste, and a
Paraphility.
yeah, what he said, and that gives you the peppery kick. It pairs why it pairs well. This sativa is a powerhouse. Word he said, a pinene promote alertness and mental clarity, boosting creativity and focus. With Jack, you're wired and ready to drive into fast-paced strategic games like Rocket League and Overwatch. The uplifting cerebral high makes you think 3 steps ahead, while the peppery other word I can't
Paraphility.
say keeps you keeps your reflexes sharp because nobody likes getting demolished in the final minute.
And our
Fuck
third
Overwatch.
strain for today is a hybrid. It's Blue Dream. This one, depending on the genetics, can lean more towards the sativa or more towards the indica, but generally you're going to find a 50-50 split with Blue Dream, maybe 60-40, so you're going to have 10% lining one way or the other. It really just depends on where it's grown, who it's grown by, and the original genetics that it's coming from. The THC content that you're going to find in these is most commonly between 17 and 24%. The terpene profile is myrcene, which gives you that earthy flavor, pinene, which gives you kind of that pine tree flavor, and limonene, which gives you that citrusy flavor. Why it pairs well, Blue Dream's balanced blend offers the best of both worlds. Calm body effects with a gentle cerebral lift. The limonene adds a citrusy mood boost, great for staying positive during those frustrating boss fights, like in games of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Dark Souls. It helps you stay focused but relaxed, turning rage quits into patient strategizing. Um, and uh, and on Wednesday's episode, I will teach David and Eli how to pronounce different terpenes because we are struggling.
That's fair.
Words.
Our first official, our first official sponsor for Munchies and Mana radio show is the 421store.com. We do have a discount code. We can put that out in the chat if anybody's interested. You get 30% off of your first purchase, and shipping is free over $50. But I'm going to hit you with the 421store.com ad, and we are going to get right back into it after the ad into Mana Drops with Eli. He's going to take us through our updates of pop culture and updated video game enthusiastic stuff. Basically, just nerd shit. Anyways, on to that ad, and then Eli will take us into Mana Drops. You guys stick around. Thanks so much for being here. Looking to level up your smoke setup? Hit up 421store.com, the online head shop with everything you actually need. We're talking torches, filters, grinders, stash gear, and even premium glass for dabbers and flowerheads alike. Whether you're a seasoned sesh lord or just upgrading from that sad gas station pipe, 421 Stores got you. Prices are solid, shipping's free over $50, and the selection, well, it's deep. So skip the sketchy shops and hit 421store.com where grown-up stoners shop smart. Do 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 do.
Will he get the hint?
And we are back with Mana Drop. First things first, Red Dead Redemption 2 will be free for 48 hours. Rockstar just dropped a surprise Red Dead Redemption 2 free claim on PC for the next 48 hours. It's good. It actually works in tandem with the drop of the new content bundle that came out, The Strange Tales of the West Volume 1, which we talked about in the last show. The update definitely includes the zombies and armadillos, cults and missing people in tall trees, and steam-powered robots at Braithwaite Manor. And swamp creatures in Legray. So if you guys have an interest in Red Dead Redemption 2 or have not played Red Dead and have a PC and have access to that, Definitely check it out because I love Red Dead 2. I love playing Red Dead 2 online with my friends. Brother David and I had a stint for a very long time where that's the only game we played. And I'm thinking about hopping back in because of this update. It's the first substantial update in 4 years, so I am super duper excited.
I mean, free cowboys with robots and undead. I'm back in. Forget therapy.
100%.
I'm back, baby.
I mean, Red Dead
Time to go
legitimately
rustle
just
up.
said, what if Undead Nightmare and AI Panic had a baby, and then that baby bought a poncho? But honestly,
I just want to shoot people cowboy style and have regular updates.
yeah. I mean, same. If
Yeah.
Rockstar did this every year, we wouldn't need elections, bro.
What a fucking wild take. Yeah, fuck you, Rockstar.
It's your fault.
Yeah, 100%. You're the reason for our economical decline.
So the Stop Killing Games initiative is the EU side of their petition reached 721K signatures out of a 1 million target. The campaign seeks legislation to ensure games remain playable even after servers shut down.
Yes,
July
please.
PC releases include Mecha Break Myco Punk, which comes out July 10th, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4's remaster, which comes July 11th. Killing Floor 3 comes out July 24th, and Tales of the Shire on July 29th, which I'm actually kind of excited for because
I was
it's
about to
kind of
say, I got to look into more of Tales of the Shire. I've heard really good
it
things.
it's essentially it's essentially Lord of the Rings Stardew Valley, and I'm fucking here for it, bro.
Dude, that's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm fucking here for it, bro. In
Is
our
that what it's
Nintendo,
supposed to be?
essentially, yes, it's gonna have a little bit. It's gonna be 3 dimensional. It's gonna be a nice, cozy, chill game, like very akin to Stardew Valley, like Animal Crossing. Like I'm here for it, dude. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I'm.
I could after playing art the Shadow of War, I could really use just like a chill just like a chill Lord of the Rings game.
Have you ever played Mines of Moria, Dan?
See, I haven't because my PC broke right before it like I guess launched or came out or like somebody showed it to me. But I've watched other people stream it, and I think I've even seen you stream it
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah.
Um, but it just looks like the most like you just digging. You just dig a tunnel,
Yeah,
dig another tunnel,
you
dig
you
a tunnel,
you
dig
digging,
another
you
tunnel.
fighting orcs.
Looking ass like
Yeah, you digging, you fighting orcs. You setting up like instead of like setting up main bases throughout Moria, you were kind of like setting up forward bases as you push forward, and it's really cool. It's a really interesting concept. You never
to
like
me that just sounds like that to me that just sounds like Minecraft with better graphics and a better storyline.
it is, and I'm here for it. It is, and I'm here for it. I don't know what else to say. Like I don't know what else to say. It's good. It's so good. I kind of want to go back to it. What do you think about coming back to Mines of Moria, David, when we get a chance?
And Red Dead, yes.
Okay, I'm down. Uh, anyway, we're moving on to comic book news. After I talk a little bit about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 dropping on July 11th across every single platform, they're remaking every level, they're updating the soundtrack, adding new skaters, and gameplay enhancements. I am really looking forward to that because the 1 and 2 remaster, mwah, 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 fucking chef's kiss,
Right.
dude. It's so good. Now all we need is to get
I
them
have
off of
the
their
one and
ass.
two remaster on my PlayStation 4, and it is Chef's Kiss.
Yeah,
It is
now all we got to
quite
do is to get
good.
them off of their ass to remake Underground 1 and 2.
See, I didn't like Underground 1 and 2. I liked the what was it, American Project, Project
American
America.
Wasteland?
I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one. I like that one, but the Undergrounds, I don't know, it felt the skating part actually felt laggy. But I think
I
when I
think with a
played it,
remaster it could be addressed and it would be very very good.
that's fair.
Like the game that
That's
I'm
fair.
playing to keep people visually occupied right now has a very like what I would expect when you're skating and doing other things. It's what I would expect underground
fair.
to feel like. Like I'm literally walking
Right.
through the woods with my
Well,
skateboard right now. You know what
coming
I mean?
from the generation that played Tony Hawk on a Nintendo 64 and then went straight into Skate on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
my my opinion is is pretty skewed because of Skate, honestly.
No, that's fair. I mean, if you wind
And
up,
especially with them dropping a new Skate, which I gotta we gotta find out more information on. But I saw somebody playing the beta test for it the other day. I might have even possibly been an alpha test, but I saw a streamer, big streamer, playing it the other day, and it looks fantastic.
right? Um,
So definitely get some more information on that for Wednesday's show because we can do a full deep dive on the new Skate game coming out because we've only waited 64 years. And it's not even a
64
Rockstar game, so
years.
it makes
Yeah,
no sense.
yeah, I feel you.
Only Rockstar's allowed to take 22 and a half years to put out a fucking video game or update.
But last thing here, Marvel and DC have crossed over for the first time in over 20 years.
Oh
Deadpool
shit.
Batman #1 will be published in September by Marvel, with Batman and Deadpool #1, the reverse, being dropped later in November and published by DC. So this is the first time the comic book publishing powerhouses have come together since 2004 when they published Amalgam Comics JLA/Avengers, which saw both teams face off against Krona. I haven't looked into who the antagonist will be for the upcoming crossover but I'm excited to see these two characters with opposing personality spectrums come together. I will have
God,
more
I
information.
feel like a Deadpool Batman combo would just be like a me and David combo.
Bro, it's gonna be so fucking cool, and I'm hyped
I
for it.
hope it's
I'm
the next.
here
I
for
hope
it.
it's either the next Batman and or Deadpool movie.
Like, I know that we will.
Y'alls can suck a fat cock. We can talk about this next show, but fuck, I'm over this shit.
Well, I guess we're ending. God damn. Just like that,
All
we've
right.
hit the end of another round of Munchies and Mana with David Say So. Whether you came for the games, stayed for the chaos, or accidentally tuned in thinking this was NPR, thanks for vibing with us. We love you guys. Wednesday, we'll do it all over again. New headlines, new hot takes, and probably a few old snacks we found under our couch. Until then, keep your hands on the controller, your mind open, your grinder clean, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell your therapist about us. Peace out, y'all. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.